So today we're going to be checking out the gear I used on the PCT this year. I started off with about a 5-pound base weight, and we're going to take a look at what I would change if I were to go back again. You may or may not already know me, but I'm Jupiter. I'm a long distance hiker, and I've hiked about 8,000 miles on long distance trails up to this point. If any of this gear interests you, I have all of it linked down below in the description, and in the coming weeks I will be making a lot more specific reviews about a certain piece of item that I find truly unique or truly special. So be sure to check that out. Thank you. First up, we're going to be taking a look at my backpack. I use the Palante V2. I've been using this brand for a very long time, and they really embody functionality in such a light package. So what I really love about it most is the convenience of it. I don't have to take it off and dig around in the pack to find something. I can access everything I need throughout the day while walking. It has these two elastic stretchy shoulder strap pockets, which I can keep my phone, food, headphones, a guide or a map, or miscellaneous gear that I might need while moving. It also has this bottom stretchy pocket, which is absolutely perfect to fit an entire day's worth of food. When I'm really in the groove, I don't have to stop and dig around in my pack searching for snacks. The pack itself is almost entirely waterproof. This is definitely my go-to. Now right here on the sides, I have my two water bottles. I use these really inexpensive 1.5 liter water bottles. And that's right, I only had 3 liters total capacity for the Pacific Crest Trail. Although these aren't as robust and strong as the Smart Liter bottles, this is actually the bottle I started out with. So that's 1,000 miles on this bottle, which cost me about $1. It has this flimsy little top. The bottles worked great. I would definitely use these same bottles again, and then maybe carry like an extra 1 liter platypus bag for the desert section. On the outside, I also keep my tent stakes, 6 of the Z-Packs carbon fiber tent stakes. I like them a lot more than the titanium shepherd's hook stakes that a lot of people use, because they're a bit thicker, so they'll hold into the ground a lot better. And I used 2 of these. These are just aluminum. I think I bought them at Walmart. And these I use on my shelter for the points that are taking the most amount of load, and they are in more of an X shape. These hold exceptionally well. They are a little bit heavier than these carbon fiber ones, but they definitely get the job done, and they're definitely light enough for me. So here we have my ditty bag. This is just where I keep all of my small things. My wallet is just a little tiny Ziploc bag with my ID, credit card, debit card, and some cash. I keep this external battery, and it does have Qualcomm quick charge and all that really good stuff. This is, in my opinion, the best through hiking battery on the market. Into the future, when I'm trying to do more video and film, I might bump it up in size a little bit, but for now, for those who are looking to go super light and who love listening to podcasts and music and taking pictures and doing video on their phone, this is the perfect size and the perfect battery. Now to charge that, I have this power bank. It does have the Smart Charge and the Qualcomm Quick Charge 3.0. It has 2 ports on it. This is definitely what you want. I use this so I can arrive in town, charge my things up in an hour to 2 hours at most, and then skedaddle. Now with that power bank, I have 2 cords. The one to charge my phone is significantly longer. The one I use to charge my battery pack is only a few inches long. Now of course there is the phone. This phone is amazing. I think it is the Sony Xperia X Compact, and it is super light. It has a 23 megapixel camera, so you can get really good photos and really good video with it. It's got that super thin profile. I will continue to use this until it breaks, then I'll probably buy another one again. If I left one of these multi-thousand mile hikes, or if I left a weekend trip without getting any video or photo, then I would be really disappointed. So to have something with that extra power to it is just really important to me. Now, of course, you have to have some earphones. you're gonna wanna listen to some music and some podcasts. So I just use whatever headphones are available. I usually just buy them at like a dollar store. Now Hygiene, I carry this really small toothbrush and this travel size toothpaste. Now the toothbrush you wanna cut down just long enough so you can actually hold on to it and get it into your mouth and get it back there without getting your hands dirty or getting your dirty hands in your mouth. Now I carry 2 flashlights with me. One is this little necklace. Have it around my neck at all times. So it's more of an emergency flashlight. My second flashlight is just a small handheld flashlight that uses 1 AAA. I usually carry an extra AAA with me just for safety and because I personally do a lot of night hiking. Now for medical stuff, the only things I really carry is 1, a bag of ibuprofen, maybe 24 of them. And I feel like if I was in a really bad situation, then that is pretty much all I would need to get myself off of trail and into a town. And my only other medical thing that I carry is a safety pin in the off chance that I do get a blister. So for my cook kit, I have this little tiny spoon. It's just a plastic spoon. The plastic spoon is perfect for me. It's super cheap, and I did cut it down smaller and round off that edge. So with that little spoon, I use this cup. This is just a peanut butter jar where I have emptied all of the peanut butter into my stomach. I like the peanut butter jars because a lot of the other things I find leak. This is the perfect size for me to have just the amount of dinner that I want that's going to really satisfy me at the end of the day. So to carry my food, I use this 20 by 12 odor-proof sack. I think it is the perfect size to fit about 3 to 4 days food in there. It is very light, and although I have my reservations about it actually being odor-proof, it does go towards a larger system. This adds to my comfort level camping alone and not worrying about animals visiting me at night because they smell food. Now for a rain jacket, I just use a Frog Togs rain jacket. It is super cheap. This thing keeps me dry and it keeps me warm. It will rip really easily. But the upside is it's so cheap that you can just replace it immediately. Now these are just Walmart brand socks. They are made of nylon. They are super thin, but they're easy to find, easy to replace, and they dry super quick. So I usually carry 2 pairs with me. On my head, I wear this synthetic beanie. I wear a pair of gloves. I also carry, instead of tights, I used wind pants. Unless I'm like winter camping or camping somewhere really cold, that wind pants do absolutely perfect. They help cut the coldness out and trap a little bit of heat in. These are so thin, they dry seconds. They're already dry. Now for a jacket, this is something I would love to replace because again, I've been using this for 6,000 miles and I just don't feel like it keeps me as warm as it used to. I would not buy the same one again because they have changed it. So I would go with the Nunatak PCT jacket. I really love having pockets that I can keep my hands in, keep my phone or snacks. I don't want a hood. I like having a modular system where I wear the beanie and just have a turtleneck style jacket. I started out with a very small Cuban tarp. A friend made it for me and we decided on making it in the lightest, thinnest material possible, and that was a bad choice. The wind was so high that the tarp literally just ripped. So if I was going back, I would buy a 7x9 Cuban tarp by Z-Packs, and that is the perfect size for me. Or I would use this tarp that I already have. It is a Sil nylon tarp that is 9x10. This is usually what I use for couples camping or if I have 2 people sleeping under the same tarp. I very much so like Cuban fiber better because Cuban doesn't stretch when put under pressure. This is what I have, so this is what I would return with. I used this polycryo ground cloth. It is the lightest material you can use for a ground cloth. On the Appalachian Trail and other trails, I used the same one for thousands and thousands of miles. Whereas on the PCT, this ripped after just a couple hundred miles. So consider using Tyvek, but I would still go with this, and I could just now know to replace it even more frequently out there. I use the Mountain Laurel Designs FKT quilt. It is a synthetic quilt that, most interestingly, has a different temperature rating for the top half than it does for the bottom half. When you go to sleep, you probably put on your insulating jacket and maybe even your rain jacket. So with that combined with this quilt, even though the top half isn't rated as warm as the bottom, you actually wind up evening out throughout the whole thing. So with this system, you don't lose any functionality. I absolutely love the design of this thing and how they have really innovated that idea. It is definitely not super warm, so if you have any reservation about its warmth, I would get something else. Now for a sleeping pad, I use this 1/8 inch thick closed cell foam sleeping pad. I have cut it down to just the size of my torso. It's not super comfortable, but when I started backpacking, I didn't use a sleeping pad at all. This thing works perfect for me. I look for a campsite that is protected by rocks and maybe has a nice bed of grass or plants or really soft sand that I can sleep in. I would not really recommend this. So for the PCT, a big item that was really important was a sun hat. Because you're almost always in the sun. There are stretches that's 30-40 miles where there isn't a single plant to get shade from and hide under. So to prevent yourself from just getting sunburned to oblivion, I wore this Sunday afternoon sun hat, and I thought it was absolutely perfect. For this hike, I didn't start out with a trekking pole. I came across a trekking pole, and in the past I've really heavily debated whether I like using trekking poles or not. I think I'm really of the party where I want to carry less and thus use no trekking poles and focus more on my own footsteps instead of having to focus on 2 trekking poles and where they're going and where my feet are going and sacrificing my technique for these things. However, I think in the future I would really love to continue using 1 trekking pole. I use the Lecky poles. One feature I have to have on a trekking pole is these clips. For shoes on this trip, I used New Balance Minimus or New Balance MT10 V4s. So I really encourage people to try a lot of different shoes and don't just go with the first thing you see a lot of other people using. In the end, I started out with a 5-pound base weight, but I think in the future I'm really going to be just hovering right around that 6-pound base weight unless my trip is just super focused. So if you're interested in reviews on any of this gear, subscribe to this channel. And I post videos twice a week, every week. If you're interested in buying any of this gear, I've left links to all of it below in the video description, so check that out. And thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I know that as a gear nerd myself, I watch absolutely every gear video that comes out.